So, for example, look, when we was active on the Grizedale estate, we used to have all sorts of individuals coming from all over the city and basing on my estate with us, okay? And let me just speak about a few of them. Liam Kelly, shot dead. Liam Campbell was with him on the estate. He's lifed off for the murder of Liam Kelly. Craig Arrowsmith, chased and murdered. Craig Barker, dead. Mark Richardson, lifed off. Sanjay Gilboy, lifed off. Scott Walker, lifed off. And there's more. Do you understand what I'm saying? But their group, they're people that was on our estate. Wes Brown, IPP, probably never getting out. Danny, IPP, probably never getting out. Blake Brown, shot dead. Do you understand where I'm coming from? There's 8 or 9 names where they're lifed off or dead. And every one of them used to be on our estate on a regular basis. And that's only a handful of what's gone on in the past 25 years within the city of Liverpool. You've heard me speak for a long, long time about there being at least 1 or 2 murders over the last 20 years. Every year, that's unsolved. There's about 18 murders by firearms that's unsolved in the last 20 years in the city of Liverpool. And most of them are under the age of 25. And it's all to do with drugs and organised crime groups. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? No one wants to talk about it. No one wants to scream about it. The families, the majority of which are too scared to scream about it because they get intimidated by the individuals that's involved in their murders and still roam the streets. Some of them are gone now. Some of them have recently been jailed for drugs, but they haven't been jailed for the murders. You know, there's some murders that could be solved if certain individuals had a little think about what they was doing and understand they're not in danger now, because once these gunmen go to prison, the majority of networks fall to the floor. And you've heard Tracy McLaughlin, you've heard me speak about Aaron Lewis. You've heard me speak about him. You know, when you hear about Stephen Rice, the disgraced policeman, and his connection to the Ungi family. And then when you know that Ungi and Chungi are responsible for the murder of Aaron Lewis, but no one's saying, no one's doing all about it. And he's not the only victim to that gruesome twosome. But it makes you wonder, doesn't it? A very high-ranking police official incoherents with the Ungi family, and then you've got the Ungi family running around the city like a killing spree. Do you understand what I'm saying? Obviously, you've got one of the Ungis right now in custody, pending a murder trial on some kid from Speak. You've got the Scottish kid, I forgot his name, who was killed on Lodge Lane. You've got a so-called rapper who's sat in jail now thinking he's mad. That's responsible for that. And there's about 15 or 16 people that know he done it, who've seen him do it, but here to come forward and say anything about it. You've got kids on Breck Road, you know. You've got young lads, you've got Jamie Starkey. Everyone knows who done him. They're shit scared to speak about it. He was another murder that got thrown on our toes by the original people that done it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because Jamie Starkey had shot at Danny years ago, and then he went to jail And then he gets out of jail, and within 6 weeks of him getting out of jail, he's shot dead. Automatically, the blame went on to Daniel G and the G family. And it was absolutely nothing to do with us. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? So it is what it is. You need to understand where it come from. You need to understand why it come from this angle. People can call me this, people can call me that, and do whatever they want. But the bottom line is, I've been screaming this for 3 years. I've been screaming about this for 3 years. And 3 years ago, I was screaming at the top of my voice. If we don't start standing up to this poison that's polluting our communities and our city, we are going to see another kid, just like Rhys Jones, shot dead. 2.5 years later, what did we get? We got a beautiful young girl, innocent as anyone, shot dead in her own home. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Obviously, I have a lot of people hating on me for what I'm preaching, for what I'm trying to teach, how I'm trying to influence these young lads not to be groomed, manipulated, dragged into a world of pure trauma, pain, prison and death. The people that target me for what I'm screaming about are the organised crime groups that I used to affiliate with when I was in that game nearly 2 decades ago. I've turned my life round. I don't like the way they're carrying themselves. I don't like the way the city's moved. I don't like children being shot dead in the mother's arms in our city. I don't like young lads going down the streets getting their legs blew off because they've upset the local drug dealer. I don't like family homes getting burnt to the ground. I don't like businesses getting burnt to the ground because drug dealers that are making loads of money want the plot of land so they can put apartments on there. Do you understand what I'm saying? They're ruining the whole culture of our city. All of it. Obviously, I don't know what you're on about, Dad, man, saying happy hour. It's never been a happy hour. It's always been a very deep Sunday evening. Although it's called peaceful hour, it's always been very, very deep. You're sitting there laughing like a complete when I'm speaking about a topic that's very serious and means a lot to a lot of people in the city of Liverpool. You've just went and got yourself blocked like a knobhead. Okay. But it is what it is, people. I'm not here to please people. I'm here doing what I feel is right. I don't need anyone to give me permission about what I'm screaming about. I don't need anyone to motivate me or inspire me to continue what I'm doing. I've got it all. I don't need no energy off no one to do what I'm doing. You understand? And you can ask anyone that's watched me for a long, long time. I haven't changed course. I haven't swapped lanes. I haven't changed the narrative. I've stayed on track. Doesn't matter what's come to knock me off. It doesn't matter what they've said. It doesn't matter how they've tried to assassinate me character. It doesn't matter how they've tried to put me in bed. None of it matters. I'm here with purpose. And that purpose is raising the awareness that has been going on in our city for far too long. And I was screaming exactly like this 2-3 years before young Olivia got taken away from her family in such a nasty way. Do you understand? All that's done to me is put wood on the fire. It's all it's done. It's made me more motivated to continue what I'm doing. I've got kids that are going to be raised within the city of Liverpool. I've got more family that I don't even associate with, but they've still got kids. You know, there's teenagers there, they're going to have children. I don't want our city like a war zone in 10 or 15 years' time for all our children to be running around with the possibility of being shot dead. Because if you don't put a stop to it like this, it snowballs. It starts with a little snowball. Before you know it, it's a snowman. Do you understand what I'm saying? Darren, were you guys ever at war with the Fitzies? Now, what Fitzies, mate? There's loads of Fitz. You've got the Fitzsibbons, you've got the Fitzgibbons, you've got the Fitzgeralds. What one are you referring to? Are you referring to the bullies from Wavertree? We've had a run-in with the Fitzies. I've told you the story in the past, you know, and I'll tell you it again just to let you know what our run-in with the Fitzies was and why they've always hated us and why we've always hated on them. Continue to this day. I do anyway. So years ago, we were a pair of robbing lips, me and Danny, and what we used to do is rob dirty little drug dealers. And on this one occasion, we've come across some fat kid who's a ticket tout called Noel Collins. You might have heard of Jojo Collins, Brendan Collins, yeah? We've seen Noel Collins, who we knew was a weed dealer. He used to sell bars of weed. Now, back in the day, the years I'm speaking about now, we were like 16, 17. And you were paying £900 for 9 ounces of Moroccan black solid weed, okay? 9.5 ounces, which used to be called a puck, okay? Now, Noel Collins used to sell these pucks of weed and ounces of weed. And by the off chance, me and Danny have seen him go in a flat in St. Domingo Vale for about 5 or 10 minutes and then come out. Me and Danny put our heads together and said, that's a stash. Okay. So we've sat it off and we were there for quite a few hours and he didn't come back. So we waited all night to see if he did come back, whether he was sleeping there, living there, or whether he was just coming at certain times of the day. We sat it off all night. About 8:30 the next morning, he goes in again. So we wait to see if he gets his head down. Half an hour later, he's back out again. Definitely a stash. We kick the back door in, bang. We go right in. We go in the kitchen. We're searching high and low for a stash. We open the kitchen cupboard and there's half a loaf of Warburton's bread. And in that half a loaf of Warburton's bread, it's packed out with about 7.5 bars of weed. It's 4.5 bars to a kilo, I think. So we just took it. There was about £750 cash as well. So we took it. We're gone. Loving it. We go, split it, go into town like we used to do, buy ourselves all the best clothes you can buy, build ourselves big fat spliffs, spoil our mates that's round us. But because the Farleys didn't like us, and we're standing on Mere Lane facing the betting office where they all used to stand, we're standing on Mere Lane Park with our little group, all flossing in boss clothes, smoking major weed. It didn't take long for Noel Collins to find out who may have robbed his stash. Unfortunately for us, it wasn't Noel Collins' graft. He was just a stash. The parcel belonged to Colin and Jason Fitzgibbons. And back in them days, they were like the main heads in Wavertree. You know, they were part of the Youngie family, all one big firm. So in the south of Liverpool, you had the Youngies, you had the Fitzgibbons, you had your Carl Palmers, you had individuals like that. And in the north, you had the Farleys, the Clarks, and individuals like that. Okay. So it didn't take long before we're standing on the hill and we see a grey Cosworth 4x4 Sapphire slamming on right in front of us, with these big steroid abusing weirdos jumping out looking to grab us. It's chase on. We get chased. We split up. Danny gets grabbed. Danny gets dragged into the back of the Cosworth. He gets drove back to the flat in St. Domingo Vale, which was just round the corner. They take him down to the cellar, and on a set of 4 breeze blocks, they've got a kitchen chair. They tied Danny to the chair at the age of 15 and tortured him for 6 hours, leaving him with 2 15-inch scars down his back in a letter X, then let him go. The only thing we could do as 2 brothers with no backup off no was target Noel Collins, and he got targeted with fire. And that's the run-in we had with the Fitzgibbon family. And we haven't lost this since. We haven't lost that. You know, Danny's lived with that all his life, that experience. A young 15-year-old lad tied to a chair, tortured for 6 hours, ended up with 2 big scars on his back that he's still got. That's that life. Now, don't think that that's a one-off. You know, there's been loads of lads that have been placed in similar positions as Daniel did. Loads. Some have not survived, you know. And it continues today. It's changed now. You know, these organised crime groups, they've got that much money. They can have the gunmen. They can have a couple of people there that can take you away and torture you. And that's all they do, is kidnap people, torture. Do you understand? Did they know he was only 15? Of course they did. Of course they did. Come on. They don't give a family, that's what I'm saying. Darren, who was the main... I don't really know the Bennett family, mate, to be honest with you. I don't really know. What you've got to understand with these crime families that used to, you know, hold the power in the city of Liverpool, you had loads of them. You know, you had the Farleys, you had the Bennetts, you had the Lynches, you had the Fitzgibbons, you had the Navarros. And what you've got to understand with all these big, powerful families is when they've had sons, their sons have not been on the same level as their dads, but they've tried to live up to the dads' names. So when you're hearing about the Fitzgibbon family, we automatically think Ian, Jason, Colin, don't you? I think it's Ian. You'd automatically think of them, when in reality, the foundations was laid by their dads. Do you understand what I'm saying? You do? When you hear the Lynches, our generation used to hear about Peter Lynch and this Lynch and this Lynch and all that, when in reality, it was John Lynch Sr. that laid the foundations, and then the children that came afterwards try to live up to the name. For example, George Bromley Sr., he had a dangerous name, notorious, very feared. But then he had a little son called George Jr., who tried to live up to his dad's name and just got the life ripped out of him. He never got murdered. He nearly did do, though. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that's what you get everywhere. That's what you get everywhere. And that's what you used to get everywhere. Don't get your mind in a twist now. The Fitzgibbons are completely irrelevant now in the city. Yeah, they've still got the notorious name. Yeah, they'll still have young kids around them who's caught up in that notoriety. I want to lick your bum shout. But they're nothing in the city of Liverpool compared to what exists now. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Trevetta, Darren, you need to be careful where you go in Liverpool. Of course I do, lad. What sort of questions that, lad? I've got to be careful anywhere I go. It doesn't matter where I am. You got to understand how far the webs of organised crime spread across this country. Do you understand what I'm saying? That organised crime group's got links to that one, that's got links to that one, that's got links to that one, and it spans the breadth and width of the country, mate. But you know what? I don't give a I don't care, lad. What have I got to lose? Me daughter, me son, me loved ones, me little family. Materialistically, I haven't got, you know, it is what it is. Certain things will hurt me and certain things won't. I'm on a righteous path. And when you're on a type of path I'm on, you're guided in life. You know, just like a birthday, you've got a death day. Every year you've got your birthday. Every day in the year you'll have a death day, depending on where you are or how you're behaving yourself. If you're doing things right in the eyes of the skies, you'll be sweet. Trust me on that.